Dear parents, dear teachers, and dear students, welcome to the ReThink Education Congress. We are very interested to get to know Kumon. Kumon method is originally from Japan, and it has already helped millions of students around the world to simply get math and English. So now we're talking to Mr. Neumann. Mr. Neumann, great that you have found the time for this interview.
I thank you for inviting me to represent Kumon here in this online conference. Actually, thank you very much for organizing this. I think it's going to be a fantastic source for many people to get so many different views and ideas. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to share something about Kumon.
Yeah, now we're all excited to hear what's the secret. What is the secret? How can Kumon just teach math and English in a way that people get it?
Yeah, that is, of course, if it would be that easy to describe, I think it would be easy to copy Kumon. And it will also be very easy to train people to be Kumon instructors. But actually, I think it's a combination. It's not just that one secret. We are not looking for some sort of magic button, and so because it doesn't exist. But there is a combination of things, and I think the core to that is that we start with the child. We put the child in the middle of everything, from the materials we develop all the way to the method and the way we design the student study experience. The child's at the core of everything, and we try to arrange everything so we utilize the child's ability to the maximum. And that means that we need to understand that individual in front of us. Even we have many children, but that one in front of me matters in the moment I interact with them.
Yeah, this is because I heard that the instructors they are very they have this very individual approach, right? They care for the student, and they want to help him, but not too much, so that he always can figure things out himself, right?
Exactly. So this is our ethos, if you want. Yeah. So we think everyone can learn mathematics or English. You don't need to be gifted or something like this. As long as we provide you with the materials, so content, and with the way of presentation. So that would be our instruction. That would also be the environment we create around you. As long as we make that just right for you, you will be able to learn, and you will want to learn. Because for us, it's very important to address the child not only as a box that needs to be filled with knowledge, but the children, it's more, their education is more like a fire that needs to be lit. And it's one of those old Greek philosophers said that, and it very much sums up what Toru Kumon invented there for his son Takeshi. That's where the company got the name from, in 1954. So at a time when there was no internet and there were no copy machines, and he would write worksheets by hand. But before he had the first worksheet written, he had actually already developed a plan for his son, how he would explore mathematics. And the desire came from an event where the wife, or Takeshi's mother, she did what many mothers do in the evening. He was in year 2. He was in bed. And what's the mother doing? She's checking the clothes. Can you wear them again? Do we need to wash? It's very similar to what happens these days.
Yeah.
And she found the mathematics test in his pocket, all crumbled up. And Toru was a maths teacher at high school. So she thought, come on, do something about the test. The result was actually not that bad. So Toru knew giving him more maths is not going to change anything, because he knows the maths already.
Okay.
So I need to give him something else. And what we think what kids need is not just understanding, so what to stimulate their brain. But we also need to develop their desire, that we've said that we need to touch their heart, their motivation. And motivation isn't talking them into doing something. that is very superficial motivation. If someone understands it like that, it's not what we talk about. We want that motivation to come from within, because we know that when kids are born, they are curious. They want to learn.
Yeah.
So how can we get to that state again? How can we bring this out again? Because it's not to be put in. It's in the child already. We need to bring that out. And we use an environment. Like Montessori, they have their environment. We have ours. Ours are study programs, and they are linear programs. So it's like a jump and run computer game. You start somewhere and then it's forward. It's not a selection of modules that you stitch together. There is a path that you walk, but how fast you walk and exactly how high the steps are that you take at a time, that depends only on one person, and this is you. So
fantastic.
you have 4,500 worksheets in maths that go from knowing nothing about numbers all the way to what you do in high school, end of high school exams. And in English, if you don't know any English, fine, just join. When English kids are born, they also don't know any English. So they learn English. So we follow the same approach, how a child would naturally learn their mother tongue.
Wow.
And it's not grammar books and vocabulary tests. It's immersion. And from immersion, participation into creation. So these are the steps they take in the English program.
And they will really have this great foundation that they can build on, even I guess later after, for example, when they go to university or even beyond, they have this process of growing skills.
Absolutely. So as much as we want to develop them as a person that contributes, that knows themselves, appreciates others, but they do that in the context of maths and English study programs, so they actually also learn the subject quite well. We do not believe we need a calculator if we provide them with the environment where they can use their brain. So we don't need any technology there. They study with a pen and pencil. There is nothing popping up, or so no messages coming in. You can really engage in your study and you can learn there by yourself, because the environment is prepared for that situation. It's not, I don't think you could do Kumon with just anything. It's the combination of what we use as a material and the way we use it that is so powerful with the children. And there are many, and they surprise us every day. Because we don't believe because you're on year 3, you have to do multiplication and division. You do what you can do. And you go a little bit further. And how big this little is, that depends on your capacity. So you might be in year 3 and you already do integrals.
Wow.
But you might be in year 10 and you do adding 4. That depends not on our judgment on you are gifted or not. That depends on what's right for you today.
This makes so much sense. And other than the academic achievements that they will have, I've seen lots of success stories actually, but I've also seen that the founder you were talking about, he had even bigger visions, like for a more peaceful world for the children. And I was just wondering, how does Kumon help here in this bigger picture even?
The motivation might have come from the situation 1954, post-Second World War, Japan. They just had 2 nuclear bombs being dropped on them, hundreds and thousands of people dead. Also the disillusion of a strong leader leading you into a bright future through war. I think there was a lot that contributed to the insight that war and violence is not going to solve anything. But I think it wasn't just that, because he also saw with his son, when he studied his worksheets, and he was really writing them by hand in the evening and Takeshi would do them the next day, and then in the evening he would mark them, and Takeshi would correct the next day, and it went on like this. And it seems very simple. They're just solving a few maths problems. So what? But Takeshi changed, and he didn't change because he knew maths better alone, but he knew maths better because he had studied. He had tried. He had overcome moments in which he wanted to give up, moments where he thought he wouldn't understand it, but he did in the end because he tried again. And it wasn't plain sailing. He started in year 2 with addition, which is actually lower than what you would do in year 2. But he finished in year 5 with what's now Abitur in Germany, or A levels in the English-speaking world. So in 3 years, he went from addition to a high-level integral and differential calculus. And he did that more or less by himself. Yeah, his father, it wasn't the smart maths teacher giving him the tricks. I think if Toru would have done that, Takashi would not have been that humble, considered, supportive, respectful person. Yeah, if your maths teacher father gives you all the tricks, you're going to go and show off. Yeah, you will show the teacher that your teacher father is better than him. But that wasn't his experience. His experience was, I work, I practice, I get better. And because I try, I get better. If other people know something, they probably also tried. And whatever they achieved, they probably worked also just as hard as I did to achieve this. And out of that came a lot of respect. And the president that followed Toru, when he passed away, he made in the 90s this theme for the company. We say world peace through education. Our contribution is education. That's what we do. So we want to deliver something for the future societies, giving children an opportunity to discover their own abilities, and also discover that other people, they might not know, they might not be able to do as much as I do, but they actually work very hard to get there. And if someone's better than me in maths or knows more in English, there's no reason to be jealous. It just means that they might have practiced more. They might have understood it quicker. Yeah. But it's almost for me a proof that it is possible that I can also get there. Yeah. Toru always used the example of Edmund Hillary. When Edmund Hillary climbed Mount Everest as the first human being to do that, we know about. We could have thought, it is a special skill to get there. Yes. And if we would have thought like this, no one would have gone after him.
Yeah, right.
But more and more people think, yeah, he could do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And this is how we understand. If someone can solve integral calculus, we know that other people will be able to do that too. And we try to learn from those who did it to benefit the others. And for us, very key is really good understanding, but also a desire, willingness to continue study, continue learning. And you leave university, you leave school, and this is not the end of your inquisitive life. You go and you keep reading, you keep exploring, you keep thinking, and that is where kids will always try to find out more about the world they live in.
And
the people they live in this world.
Yes, and the ones that surround them, they are seen like a motivation and not so much as a competition. And I heard maybe, I feel like people get rewarded more from themselves, like on the inside, when they notice that they understand and learn and that they are more and more capable, and not so much reward from like, I was better than the others. Also that aspect of it, right?
Yeah. So if you look at on the surface, in a Kumon center, the kids, they would sit there like they sit in a school classroom, and they solve mathematics and English materials. On the surface, everything just looks like school. Maybe the first thing you notice, there is no whiteboard, and the teacher is usually not in front of the class, but just somewhere roaming around, looking at certain people. He's also not telling them what to do from a mathematical or English point of view. And that's when you start noticing the difference. So we don't have the social comparison because we don't have to have a class where everyone does the same. And we have that study environment where you could do English and maybe you read Dickens and you answer comprehension questions, and you also explore the vocabulary used there a bit to extend your knowledge. And I might sit next to you and I'm doing addition of 4 today. And you might read aloud. So I can hear you read English, the text in front of you, but am I distracted? Why would I? You are studying English, I'm studying maths, all right. If you doodle on your phone, I might get curious what's going on there. But if you read your English, okay, you read your English. Understood. So we have a mix in the classroom. The kids are together, so they also have a chance to have the other child as a contact point, actually, to have other kids as an inspiration, as an encouragement. And although we don't make, let's say, we don't make that interaction, it happens. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are doing things where you think, how skillful trainers are children. Now, I saw preschool children showing other preschool children what they will do when they are in high school. So they had a look at the materials and they were wondering what might that be. And this I understand, there are numbers. I know the numbers, and yes, I also know those letters, but plus and minus we know, but how is this all related here? So this kind of exploring and wondering, when will I do this and what's next for me? That's what preschool kids can do.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
You don't need to be 18 to do that. Wow. So for us, age is not really that important because it's just how long your body has been on that planet. Yeah. But it doesn't say much about what you are able to do.
Yeah, what experiences you have. Yeah, things like that. It's very fascinating. And I'm really astonished how innovative this concept seems. Like today, there are some solutions that kind of follow the same method, just by learning step by step. But to do this like over 50 years ago and to have created all this experience and to just keep improving the methods every time, and this is completely amazing. I must say, wow.
I think it's the simplicity that is the beauty of it. Yeah, it's not so complicated on the outset. You've got your materials, you've got your students, you've got the instructor, and they want to find out what's the child able to do. And let's start from there and lay out a path that is right for that student. That's, of course, when it gets messy and difficult. If that would be so easy, I think you could put that into the hand of a machine or so.
Yeah.
And they could utilize a lot of data and make very, very intelligent, but kind of artificial decisions. For us, the human element is very important. You said it's the trainer that guides, encourages, forms to some extent the athlete. Yeah, everyone knows Usain Bolt. Everyone knows Usain Bolt. But do you know the trainer? He had a trainer. He had several trainers. Nobody knows those people. Yeah. And honestly, none of them have won any world record, I think.
Yeah.
But still, they nurtured the guy who had the world record for such a long time.
Right.
So this is what the ethos of our instructors. Yeah, I'm nurturing talent. Yeah, I'm nurturing people who will be better than I am. I think Da Vinci said that. The best teacher is a teacher who is surpassed by its students.
Yeah.
And that is our ethos. If I compare myself to the kids I met, I should be very jealous because they could do stuff that I could not do when I was in their age. But if I'm like that, how do I nurture them? I need a different mindset. Yeah,
Yes.
I need the mindset where I'm amazed, I'm impressed. But I'm not just pigeonholing them as special, but I'm seeing them as an example. Yeah, they're an example that kids can do that. In the 70s, we had the first time children who did algebra when they were still in kindergarten. And they had not started there. They came and they didn't know anything about numbers. And a few years later, they could do algebra.
Okay.
But we didn't have that before.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so why is that happening? Yeah, why do we have kids in 1977 who can do that? And not in 76 or 78 or 68 or 58, but in 77. Is it evolution? I'm not a biologist, but I'm pretty sure evolution is not that quick. In a few years, suddenly so much more mental capacity. I think it's the nurturing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably we had someone who did fractions before, and adults understood, the instructors understood that it is possible that kids do that. Yeah. So maybe I'm suddenly seeing more potential in the ones that I see from now on. Yeah. Once I've seen this, I suddenly recognize it in others. And that's how it perpetuates. And now every year it's a few thousand to reach that stage. So it just happens. It's something that we learn from the students. We would never have learned that from adults because the adults had never seen it. Yeah, yeah, right. And a lot would really oppose it. They would say, how can you do that? These poor kids doing algebra. But you know, those kids who do algebra in kindergarten or read books when they are not even in school yet, you can't force that on a 3-year-old. No, if a 3-year-old doesn't want to explore, doesn't want to learn, they won't explore and they won't learn. Because they're not compliant like the adults are. Yeah, simple as that. Stuff that we are told to do. Kids are much more pure. They do what they want to do. And if they want to do it, they do a lot of it. Yes. Everyone who had a baby knows how persistent children can be. The game where you have the round shape and the square and the star and you have those holes. For hours, we can do that. Yeah. Oh, isn't it boring? No, it's not boring because I enjoy doing it. And that's important. You have to enjoy this and enjoy the challenge. And kids want challenge. Yes. Otherwise, they would never start to walk and they would never start to talk. And they love challenging themselves, I guess. Yeah. Like not so much a challenge from the outside or competitiveness, but more the challenging oneself. And so I saw that you offer courses like starting 3 years old and all the way through to A level. So I'm wondering, of course, it would be great to enter at an early age, but what would you say to someone who's like maybe 11 years old and struggling so hard in math, for example, and just doesn't feel like he would understand anything at all? Could he still go to Kumon? I guess so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope at least for our initial meeting, because it's anyway free and there are no obligations. So I really, really invite everyone, if you want to know what your child can do in maths, English, or in general, just join us. It's 1.5 hours of your life, but it might actually give you some information, some insight, some view that you might not get otherwise. I would always look at what the child can do. Yes, we have a few tests. We might not tell the child it's a test, because if you are already afraid and you don't think that you know maths, if I give you a test, you will be even more afraid. But we could just have a look at a few exercises together. That might be my wording. And to see what you can do. I have never met anyone who can't do anything. Everyone can do something. And we need to find out what it is. Maybe you are not so great with numbers. Or maybe you are not the one who can do division and do division safely, quickly, with a certain conviction that you are on the right path. Maybe for you, it's all very cloudy and you're just kind of feeling yourself through this room full of danger.
Yeah.
But maybe you can really understand addition, or maybe you can really try. Maybe you don't know anything, but you really want to give it a go.
Yeah.
Maybe you really enjoy discovering something you know. These are also abilities, and I want to use those. I don't want to use what you can't do, because I think knowledge or ability as a whole is a bit like money in a bank. You can't spend what you don't have.
Yeah.
You can, but you should use what you have. Yeah, if you have a lot of passion, if you have a lot of stamina, let's use that.
Yeah.
If you're very inquisitive, let's use that.
Yes, focus
And
on that. Yeah.
if you reduce the child to mathematics or English, I think we really, really, really disadvantage the child, because we ignore that it's a human being. A human does so much more than just memorize operations. Yeah, this is something we can program a machine with, but the kids are not machines. They are people. So we want to find out, where are you? What are you capable of? What are your dreams? What are your fears, maybe as well? So we can then start from what you are good at to step-by-step approach what you might not be able to do right now. So we want to have you surpass this. The fear of maths is not going to go away by not doing maths. Yeah, if you're afraid of the dark basement, it's not going to help. Never go there. You need to go there. But when you go there, you need to know that you are able, and that there is someone who will protect you if worse comes worse. And that's what the coach, the trainer, what we call instructor, is for. Yeah, they are that security net. Yeah, the person that is behind you, not in front of you, dragging you through maths, but behind you, catching you back when you might stumble.
This is so very beautiful, to create this space as the instructor, which is a very human capacity, actually. You know that I've read that jobs in the future, when like machines take over in these kind of scenarios, where with all that artificial intelligence coming or already being here, that especially teachers are needed, and instructors at Kumon especially qualify for that, because only humans can really find this place, or like feel this place where the student is at right now, and feel like, or maybe even can tell, does he just have a bad day, or all these little factors that make it so valuable to have this great instructor at your side, and catching you, and maybe and if it goes well, just letting you fly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the way to do it, which sounds very simple, but it's actually not so easy if you have a lot of people. And not everyone is that easily understood. And to be honest, as a person, you also have a bias. You will have one. So you will need a framework to make sure that you can't just relate to people that relate to you. You as the professional, you need the skill to also relate to students who might not easily relate to you as a natural being. So you need to kind of control yourself a little bit more. And for that, we have means, of course. That's where our training kicks in, to develop your senses in recognizing abilities in people. Challenge your preconceptions a lot, actually. But a lot is that. Moving away from kids can't, or this is impossible, or he can't do this, she can't do that, to move into start with what they can do. And the other bit is to extend, if you want, your range of senses into territories that are not naturally your favor. A lot of the maths people who join us, they are more analytical. It's unfortunately like that. A lot of the people who work with numbers and figures, they tend to be more analytical. And they might need a bit more of that emotional element, because we want to recognize that as well. Others are more emotional, but they also need that analytical element because it's not only feeling. So for that, of course, we have frameworks to train the trainer.
Wow.
To be the person to grasp the child as fully as possible, because only that does the child's justice. They deserve to be recognized with their full potential and not only part of it.
This is just so great and thoughtful and makes so much sense. And it sounds like a beautiful art I even would like to know how to do. Yes. Let me just ask you this very quickly. Where can the parents, where can now also the teachers who are interested in this field, where can they learn more about Kumon?
The best is probably, as a starting point, is to go to our website. If you are in Germany, that would be kumon.de. If you are not in Germany and you might prefer a different language, maybe than German, then I would recommend to go to kumon.org, because there you will find links to all sorts of languages in the whole world, where we have presences where you can read and see what Kumon is, how it's designed, etc. So you get a bit more facts to the programs, etc. And of course, if you Google, you will also find a lot of information in YouTube and Facebook, etc., social media, where parents and instructors share their real life stories of students. And you can see them study and interact. That might give you more insight than my talking.
Yes, I will make sure to put all the links below this video. And now, thank you so very much, Mr. Neumann, to have shared the Kumon method and all that it stands for. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. This was my pleasure indeed, actually. And I should really say, maybe on behalf of everyone watching this, thank you very much for preparing this conference. I know you did that on your own account, and I think this is the encouragement that people need, and the input a lot of people are looking for to engage more with education and what education could be. And thank you very much for your hard work putting this together. Thank you very much.
Very, very welcome, everybody.